So Dori, can you take us through, over a year ago now, what things were like and how they changed and some examples of what you need to do to keep things going in the court?
Well, early on, probably at the beginning of April, I made the decision, kind of when the numbers were increasing quite rapidly, made the decision that we needed to start working from home just to keep the staff safe, and we didn't want to start giving it to each other. And so as soon as that happened, then I started working, and I have an office manager and my chief deputy. We all started working with the IT department and getting things going, how that would look. So we had them help us with some laptops that the staff could take home, and with the VPN numbers, and making sure that we could get our justice, the state computer system up and running on the remote computers. And also the e-filing systems helped because we were still able at home to print the pleadings and print the orders that the judges and the attorneys would file. So that was basically our first step to make sure that we were able to do that. And then let me see, I'm just gonna look at my notes. This isn't real formal. We decided on doing our half staff remote and half staff here, and then we would alternate that on a weekly basis. While here, a mask mandate was implemented by me. The courthouse couldn't do that, but I was able to do that. I can't say enough good about our district court staff. They rose to the challenge and understood the fluidity of the situation and how things were changing really on a day-to-day basis with the information that we were receiving from the Sarpy County Department of Health and those people, and our fiscal department along with our county administrator. So they were very, very good with that. Also, the importance of keeping themselves safe. We talked about that, and wearing the masks, not just here, but on their personal time. And also understanding the importance of getting the work done correctly. Sometimes people have to be responsible for themselves, and they rose to that occasion also. So they also started to think outside the box. And with that being said, we were able to implement some shortcuts and some different procedures. And we also got some desktop scanners in the end, because they were thinking, well, why can't we just do this? And it was perfect. So we've been very, very pleased with those types of things that happened. Sarpy County Facilities did an amazing job. They installed glass partitions at our counters, so we were able to keep ourselves away from the general population that way. And they all recommended that people coming into the courthouse also wear masks, so that was another good implement. I asked that a secure drop box be installed at the front door of the courthouse. So that was helpful, especially there was a time when we were only taking appointments. And if people wanted to just drop off their pleadings or their filings, they could do that at the drop box, and attorneys or whoever. So it was really, really helpful, and we still have it. And it's really nice to be able to use that. We provide envelopes out there. And so I think all of us here at the office just really like it. And I think people are getting to the point where they realize they don't have to come in if they don't want to. But that was very important at the very, very beginning. Also, I had new cubicles ordered at that time, and then they were installed sometime in April of last year. And so that was also very helpful in socially distancing the staff people, and also the walls of the cubicles were higher. So that worked out beautifully. And I mentioned the laptops and the VPN numbers. Any other questions? I have a couple more things we can talk about, but do you have anything else?
So remind me if I'm wrong here, but it was a kind of a bullpen sort of situation with everybody being able to see each other before the cubes went up, right?
Prior to, yes, it was, the desks were 30 years old and they were just the fake wood. And yeah, everybody was just open.
Yeah.
This was so much safer.
And the number of staff that you have in district court, how many is
There's 14 of us total.
Okay. Yeah, it's just been one of those things that that really thinking outside the box has been kind of the norm, right? And
Right.
we're entrenched in our ways, and it's slow to move usually. But it seems like everybody just they did what they needed to do to get it done. And
They did.
where do you see the volume right now, and how long until things get back to normal or the new normal down in Sarpy District Court?
Okay. The volume, I think, really never diminished. It seemed like early on, the divorces and the protection orders were almost increasing, which a bit ironic when you think about people together at home. The criminal activity probably diminished a little bit at the very, very beginning, but we're back to, I would say, normal on that. And also the search warrants, they continue too. So actually our numbers, I believe, are back to normal. The jury trials are not. We had a couple in March and they were fairly large, but I don't really know if the public defender is working with the county attorney to try to come to some plea deals just to kind of get some off the plates. And that would be where we're at right now.
Right.
Right.
What is something, is there anything that the attorneys need to maybe understand about how things are now and going forward? You know, something you like to get out there about people are still doing something in the old way that's now changed that you'd like to let the bar know about?
Just continue to tell the attorneys to e-file the pleadings. That just makes our job so much easier and I know that they're mandated by the Supreme Court to do that. You know, and we do, I think there's been some, maybe, I'm sorry.
That's right.
I think there's been some confusion about us accepting certain pleadings where we can't accept everything if it's incorrect or there's no notice of hearing, then we are not to accept those according to the judges. Now, I understand that other courts probably do accept those, but my office is caught between a rock and a hard spot because all 4 district judges want those notices of hearing or even proposed orders. And that's been very difficult. And you can splice some of this out if you want to.
No, but I mean, that's down in the weeds, but that's important, right?
It is very important because I think a lot of times they feel like we don't know what we're doing, but we do know. We just have to do things a certain way here to support the judges. And that's our job also, not just to file all the records, or our record keeping is accurate, but we do support the judges. We don't have a court administrator like Douglas and Lancaster.
Right.
We have bailiffs. So the other thing that we did early on while the juries were still on hold, I ordered placards and lanyards, and that was a huge help for the judges and the attorneys during our jury trials once we started those up again. And so, especially with the jurors wearing the masks, it's really hard to identify them and recognize who's who. And they've really been appreciative of those. So I think we'll probably continue to do those.
And is there going to be, do you foresee maybe more of a difficulty in populating your juries with this going forward?
Surprisingly, we have not. When we've had juries, we've had a lot of people show up. I would say that has not changed at all because you always have a few that don't show up for whatever reason. But our numbers have been very, very good. We've been able to to seat a jury easily.
That's great.
It is. It's kind of surprising, actually.
Well, and I mean, I remember back in April and May of last year, I was like, why don't we just do Zoom juries? Like, there are people at home right now that, they would love to do
Right.
it. And then we get into the, the constitutional rights of defendants in criminal trials to, be in the same room face to face with their accuser and with the jury, and how that plays into it. And I think it's still going on in some respects in criminal defense bar, and having remote hearings or what have you, and their general
Yes.
desire to be there in person.
And I think that's great if people can be home and get the job done, because a lot of times they don't have access to a vehicle to get themselves here. That's numerous phone calls that we get. Or they're ill. Well, even if you're a little ill, you could still be on a Zoom call.
Right.
But juries would be really, really difficult, I think, with a Zoom or a WebEx. We're lucky enough to have our Board of Commissioners room. And so that's where a lot of voir dire would take place. So that was helpful. They would split the jury up and have them in the judge's courtroom and the Board of Commissioners until the jury was actually seated. And then we would go back into the courtroom.
And one thing that's unique between Douglas and Sarpy County, and this is all secondhand to me through my wife and through other actual practicing attorneys, is about the cattle call, or the day where, is it Tuesdays, where there's the list of cases, and we're going to hear, hearing after hearing after hearing. Motion day, is that what it's called?
We have certain motion days. The judges are kind of getting away from that a little bit.
Yeah.
Judge Martinez and Judge Cox, their bailiffs schedule all their hearings. They give the attorneys hearing dates. And then Judge Thompson has a certain day for motions, depending on domestic, criminal, whatever. Then Judge Smith is here, 50% of the time. So he has his own day, which is Tuesday. Now, county court has the open court. We don't have that.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. And yeah, I guess I understand that district court, there's no motion day in Douglas County. It's just one of those nostalgic old time attorneys. We used to have this day, and everybody would be there, and you'd see them, and you'd sign in when you get there and things like that.
Oh,
so there's, as I understand it, still some motion day down there that is, we'll see where it ends up down the way, right? Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm always talking about how one of the most important things to make a collegial bar is seeing each other and having those interaction moments. And with the online meeting up in the last year has sort of lessened that to some extent. So I'm always for random interactions with other attorneys, and having sort of that time away from the bench where you can maybe have a conversation with just the opposing counsel and things like that. So the courthouse as a space for getting things done outside the courtroom as well is an important thing. And and this is all secondhand, and you can confirm this or deny, the WebEx has that like meeting room aspect where they can be waiting and sort of chat outside of their time spent talking with the judge, I think.
I think it does,
yeah.
Which is helpful. That's helpful. Yeah. Well, and I came from a really small county. I was clerk of the district court in Colfax, and I missed the interaction at the counter with attorneys waiting for court, or my judge would come, once every other week or so. And it was just always fun. Those court days were fun. Here, I don't know half of them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad, because I love to meet people and find out about them, their stories or whatever. So
I share that.
I understand what you're saying, totally.
So can you give me background? How long have you been clerk of district court, and when, and your dates at Colfax, and any other history with administration?
So 2003, I took office in Colfax County, and I was there until I resigned in 2016. And then I became Carroll's chief deputy and then I ran for office and took office 2019 here. And I moved because I had gotten remarried and my husband lives here. I think it was really important that we would have monthly meetings with the judges of the juvenile county district, the courthouse administrator, and all the stakeholders, basically probation, you name it, public attorney, county attorney, me and Barb. And we were just able to talk about, you know, what we were doing in our office. That way everybody was kept informed. I also used my website to let the general public know what we were doing, along with email to the entire courthouse, the offices here. So I just thought communication was super important at that time.
Absolutely.
Nobody knew what really was happening. It just all happened so quickly.
It just changed too along the way, right?
It did.
Yeah.
Every day was different, but yeah.
Oh, and I was talking to Judge Lowhouse the other day, and she was talking about how, you know, even the guidance on cleaning surfaces,
Right.
You know, after hundreds of gallons of you know, cleaning solution used, and now it's like, okay, well, at least we cut down the flu.
We did, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I would just like to thank Sarpy County IS, the facilities, the communication, our fiscal department, and all of my staff, my chief deputy, Jessica Butts, and my office manager, Amber Mathai, for all pitching in. And without all of these people, we would not have been able to continue to support the judges and the entire legal system. And I believe that we were able to provide an uninterrupted service to all the constituents and self-represented litigants and the general public. And like I said, and we definitely wanted to be able to support our judges as well as we could. So thank you very much. I truly appreciate this award. It was surprising, but not unappreciative.